Well, how's it going? April 23rd, everybody. Tickets are on sale right now, as you will hear this as a regular folk, you know what I mean? Regular folk patrons would have gotten this episode last night, but tickets are now on sale since 10 o'clock on the 14th of January 2022. We're going to Belfast, everybody. We are on the April 23rd, Saturday. So come on, join the fucking gang. I know a good few people are on already. Somebody had kind of said that they had gotten tickets. You fucking haven't. Well, you certainly didn't 2 days ago. So, brand new show, Clattered, is coming to the Belfast Limelight. The Limelight in Belfast. I don't know why I was struggling with it the wrong way around. Because I'm supping tea here like an absolute unprofessional pig. But I'm very, very excited. More dates we'll see. But for now, this one is absolutely locked in through Ticketmaster. In the show notes, have a look, click on through. Let's go. Let's get on down. People are travelling up from the south. People are travelling from all over the north. As they've informed me, it's going to be a good fucking night. I'm going to get Kieran Bartlett to open for me. And it should be fucking mighty crack. Brand new show. The Patreons, of course, will have gotten all this news and they'll link, so they're probably on it before you. They would have gotten the video to today's show and they get the Ramble Pods. If you're brand new to this going, I've never listened to Bookshop before, well, I'll tell you now, you get an extra podcast midweek for as little as $3 hairs a month. Simple as that. And thank you to everybody who increased over the Christmas. You increased your pledges when you didn't have to, but it's just sound out. Probably rounding it up in whatever currency you're using, but I'm more than happy. You're absolute fucking legends. Thank you very, very much. We will do another live show for the Patreon people towards the end of the month to see how people were getting on with Dry January, or did they bother the whole with Dry January? I don't know. I'm still one weekend proud of myself, and we'll see how the rest of it goes. But you're look at. Hey, if you are listening on Spotify, do me a favour, will you give it the 5 stars? We're still running a 5-star, purely 5 stars. We've got 100% 5-star rating across the way, so if you would please, or if you're listening on Apple, give it a 5-star rating as well. Anything less than that, sure, it's no good to anybody. 5 stars, please, all the way. Spotify now allow it. Thank you very, very much. And if you can tag the show, do a screen grab, tag the show, tell people you're listening. If you do get tickets, tag the show, tag me on Instagram or whatever. I'm over on the TikToks as well. I'm over there as well. Tom O'Mahony Comedy will pretty much find me everywhere if you're brand new to everything else. Look in the show notes for the links to the ticket and to join Patreon. But moving on to today's guest, I have not seen this man in flesh since time has frozen for me. I thought he was still 23, but he's actually 25. I haven't seen this man in 2 years, but he is an absolute gent and a great crack to hang out with, and I can't wait to see him again. Brilliant to have a proper chat with the great and powerful William Thompson. How are you keeping, dude?
Fantastic, man. Thank you for having me.
I know I already asked you, because I mean, you literally just 30 seconds ago I said, how's it going? But yeah, there's that asshole in me that I can't do the radio thing where I pretend like I just met you 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the beauty of podcasting, is you can literally let people in at any point of the conversation where you just be a couple of weird fuckers talking away amongst yourself.
I like an intro to them. I don't like just being dropped in the conversations though. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck are these two talking? You don't get dropped into any other media form. You don't just in a movie halfway near the end. You know, you get introduced to who everybody is. I like that.
I know, and I get that, but sometimes I have to kind of sneak it up on some people. See, comedians, you're fine because you're literally told when the go time is to go. You go,
yeah, we just turn it on.
Yeah,
like hello everyone. Yeah,
but I especially found when back in the before times, before we could actually meet people, when I'd start recording, you'd see people clam up straight away. You go, oh, like especially sports lads, they'd go, oh fuck, and you're going, oh lad, we were great. We were having a great time for the 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Now is the time to fucking shine, like.
And many comedians have been saying, like, I'm going to start a podcast, but I'm not going to interview comedians. I'm just going to interview like normal people, and then they do 2 of them, and they're like, I'm only doing comedians now.
Yeah. It's only by chance that I've ended up interviewing other people, literally, because I can't seek them out, because for the most part they'll let you down. Do you know that kind of way? Not brutally, or not by their own doing, but it's just like, yep, there's the answer to the question now that you just asked. And
there's no indulgence
No.
in like a wee bit of a story or a wee bit of a joke.
Nothing. There's no like it's not. To be fair, it's not all of them, but some of them you kind of run across. The only time this ever happens when their management or them have asked to be on the podcast. Because normally, if it's somebody from outside the realm of comedy, it's somebody I knew would be good fucking crack anyway. You know, that kind of way.
Yeah. I know exactly. If you had any interviews where you're sitting there for like 20 minutes and you're like, there's 40 minutes to go and this is shit.
It's thankfully not often. I tell you what, I did a lad's podcast a couple of weeks ago. It was a nice chap. And the same night, I think I did 3 people's podcasts. And this one particular lad who'd built it up like it was a serious thing. He had, he had a schedule of it and everything. And man, he was just asking me these cul-de-sac questions. And I was trying to elaborate for him. And he would just go, yeah. And just look off into the middle distance. And I'm going, I don't know what to fucking do. I don't know what the fuck to do.
At least look at me.
No. He'd look
like
off.
It's a bad shag. He won't even look at you. It's like he's just halfway through the interview. He's like, "You got a taxi coming here or what? Like, what's going on?"
It was the oddest thing. It was like, have you like? I enjoy people who do their own thing and have their own style, but this lad, he had clearly never ever witnessed or heard how a conversation has ever happened in life ever. It's just this fucking weirdness.
Was it recently though, or was it that stage of the pandemic where we completely forgot how people spoke?
No, it was fucking recent, William. It was fucking recent. Everybody's in tune with the Zoom shit now. Like everybody knows, and Zoom have modified it now. Because right at the beginning, do you remember we couldn't? Nana would start talking, and you'd have to we couldn't dare speak at the same time.
Yeah, it fucked all timing for anything.
Everything. So they've even sorted that. But no, that wasn't the issue. It was just your man would ask me a question, and he'd bring it up. And for a finish, after about 7 or 8 minutes, I realized, you're not in. I don't have it. I don't think you're with the fucking program. I'm just going to have to talk, aren't I? I'm just going to have to just talk because and it was short. Thankfully, it was like a short enough one, like 20 minutes or whatever. But that made it.
I've found now doing interviews with like anything. I don't like doing anything that's not run by another comedian. See, when you do interviews for like a radio or a newspaper, this sounds so wanky to people listening to this who don't. Here's my problem with interviews, man. As I said, as I got up at 10 this morning, do you know what I mean? Like, but the questions are so pedestrian, and they're always like, what got you into comedy?
Yeah.
Have you ever been heckled?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What's the rudest joke I know? I can't tell you the rudest fucking joke I know. Do you know what I mean?
I remember getting asked it, and they put it in such a way where I was able to say my answer was no. When it was for a radio, and it was a dick move on my behalf. But the guy was like, whatever way, he was like, he asked me a scenario and says, "Was that how you got into college?" Or he was like, "How'd you get?" And I just went, "No, look, man, nobody cares. No, they don't. They just want to come on here. Just ask me some of the stuff that'll tee me up so I can be funny." I know I'm giving away stepping from behind the fourth wall here, but nobody gives a fuck.
No one gives a shit. I'm being asked and I don't give a shit.
It's you don't mind it telling it conversationally to somebody who asked you, "How the fuck did you end up there?" Fair enough. Yeah. But when it's those redundant down a fucking cul-de-sac,
But the only time you'll ever get asked by someone going, "How'd you get into comedy?" That's someone else who's also trying to get into comedy, and they're waiting to drop that.
Yeah. I was thinking of giving it a go myself. Yeah.
That's as soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh yeah, well, that's like I always say, I'm like, good for you, but leave me alone. I'll give you the tips, but I don't want to discuss it.
There is like, it shouldn't be spoken about nearly if you're going to get into it. That kind of way. I never forget, and I'm so protective, and I've gotten worse probably over the lockdown and stuff like that. Well, probably because my appreciation of stand-up, but I remember meeting somebody, like, clearly you're nervous when you do stand, like, nervous energy, especially early doors. The thought of doing it is unnatural. But I remember meeting, she'd be younger than you, I'd say. Yeah, she would have been But I was coming out of a show in Galway, and the lad that was with me was a real emo sort kind of lad. He's not doing comedy for one reason or another at the moment, but he was with me, and he knew her. And anybody who knows the Dublin comedy scene knows exactly who I'm talking about. But he was walking.
I don't know who you're talking about, but I know enough about that scene to have a guess. You know, and if I didn't know the person, I'd know the reason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The reason. Yeah. But he knew this.
That's yet to hit our shores. I'm waiting on it.
Oh yeah. I think for the most part you'll be all right. You don't. For the most part you'll be all right. But I remember he met this young one outside who was like rolling a fag, you know, being cool.
I know who it is. Sorry, I know who it is. Not, sorry,
yeah. I loved that. You didn't hear.
All just clicked.
You didn't hear the last 10 words I said. You were just the wheels. I could see the wheels inside William's head going. Oh, now going through the final facts of filth.
Oh, the dirty bastard! I'll do in the home well. Yes,
but he knew this girl, and she was just rolling the fag, just leaning nonchalantly in the rain against, because you know she was just being all fucking meta and stuff in her own, and she was just rolling this fag, and she's hey. And he was like, hey, hadn't seen her in a year. There was no excitement in either one of these fuckers. And he was telling her what we were just doing, you know, we're just doing stand-up. And she was like, yeah, I think I'll give that a go sometime, you know. She said it like the same way as that I might try a different brand of tobacco. Like, in my head, I'm going,
that's annoying.
Fuck yourself. You're going to
you want to give my life's work a try, do you?
You motherfucker, you don't give this
just
a try.
Going up to Da Vinci and being like, I fancy a wee bit of that painting myself.
Yeah. I love how you've aligned us with one of the greatest artists of all time.
Yeah.
Effort-wise. Who
would you rather be at a party with, us or that motherfucker?
Yeah. Yeah, true. But I was that protective of it. In my head, I wanted to I was like, are you fucking joking me that you're wrong? Oh, yeah. And you would be the sort of dose that's blocking up the road for people who actually want to do it. You know what I mean? Like
that's up there with like when you get surrounded by a drunk dude at a party and be like, you know, I'm pretty funny myself, and I'm like, are you?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. What do you do? I'm a plaster. Yeah, listen, I can do that too. I might give it a go. Actually, I might give plastering a go. Yeah, it's great.
And he'll be annoyed. You're blocking other plasterers from getting it.
Just being this emo plasterer, just fucking.
Yeah. Me with the mic stand being like, might give that a go. I don't know. How did the BBC thing come around? I meant to ask you because I haven't seen anybody physically in so fucking long. So I haven't seen you since pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So it came about. I was told about it. I wasn't going to do it, and then Shane Todd was like, "You may as well enter it. You've never done TV. You can qualify for doing it." As our guy, because I have a real bittersweet relationship with competitions.
Oh God! Oh God!
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's either
like you'll watch someone die on their hole for 5 minutes and they win, and then you say to the judge, "How did they win?" They're like, "I really like that one joke they had about shopping trolleys," and you're like, "Fuck off."
I literally got told that in the final of a TV thing, and it was like, "Well, he had that joke about flies," and I'm like, "It was a 10-second joke about flies." Okay, it wasn't a bad joke, but I'm almost of the opinion comedy competitions shouldn't be judged by comedians. Like, I feel too many of them go, well, I liked it. It's like, it's not about what you like. They should be watching the audience at the very least, like, and forget about what's actually been said on stage. Like,
yeah. But yeah, so Shane said to me, and he said, just send in a clip and you'll do it. So there was heats initially, like regional heats in Limelight and Belfast.
Oh yeah.
And I think there was about 3 Northern Irish people in the Northern Irish heat, and the rest were from Dublin.
Really?
And down south and stuff. Yeah. Most weren't from Northern Ireland. Ironically, every Northern Ireland that got through.
Yeah, but proper fucking order, like, you know what I mean? Like, let's be honest, like, you know, let's be fucking honest.
Yeah, and then there's a guy from down south got through, Roger O'Sullivan.
Oh, Roger, yeah, he's from Cork. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking great, lovely.
Good.
Oh,
very
lovely
good,
dude.
Yeah.
So then, after you get through the regionals, you got put through to the semi-finals, which was in Portrush Town Hall, and it was the first one that was being recorded for TV. It was on BBC 3. But it was weird. It wasn't in a comedy club. It was in like a church hall that they had just set up and it was still socially distanced. And what stand-up was like, socially
Oh
distanced. It
Jesus,
was
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
difficult. So
Right.
yeah, and it was another. They were following you constantly with cameras for like
Oh,
backstage footage and shit.
oh, they were trying to create that X Factor vibe, right? Did you have any sad story to tell back there? Like, you fucking
Do you know what I do, but I wouldn't because that's nobody's bit. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I wouldn't. I do have like I could look into the camera and be like, as a little disabled boy, it's always been my dream. But I'm just sitting here being like, I'm funny, but
yeah,
that's all I'm really here for. Do you know what I mean? Every time they would always ask you questions though that were like, what do you want to do in comedy, and what do you want to? Why are you in comedy? And I would just give the most dickhead
yeah.
answers. They're like, why are you in comedy? I went to make money, and they're like, and what do you want to do? Make a lot of money, like
Proper fucking answer, yeah.
proper. Like I don't fucking care about this question. It's a stupid question. Who do you like? Jerry Seinfeld. He has a lot of money. Just like that. It was just every time came back to just me being like, it's money. That's it.
Money. Actually, I'm converting to Judaism. I'm going to be a Jew. I'm going to be
Yeah.
Jewish like Jerry Seinfeld. I
Yes.
want, yes.
Yes. And that was the answer I gave every time. And then the thing it was cut from TV that they don't show, obviously, because they couldn't, is when they're judging it.
Yes.
It took like an hour and a half
Did it?
for it to go. Yeah, so and you weren't allowed to leave that room, and we were sitting mic'd up.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So we're like, you couldn't even really say anything. Did that start you? I'm pretty sure if they review my audio, it's just me going, I need to shit. Can this please? I now don't care if I win. I just want to shit. Like, and it was that for like an hour and a half. Eventually, by the time I won, I was like, I'm happy, but I'm also like, if you watch it back, dying to shit by like everyone's shaking hands and stuff, and like I'm like going, don't pat my back, please. That's too risky.
I need a nappy. Has anybody got a nappy?
Yeah. So then after we did that one, it was through to the Grand Regional Heat, which was in. I was shitting myself. I was like, the kind of city it will be in, I think will make or break how well I do. If it's in London, I'm fucked. If it's in the north, I'm fine.
You were gauging up, but had you gigged in England before? Had you gigged in London before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've done London, Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, and that's where it was. It was in Newcastle. So I heard Newcastle. I was like, working class city.
Yeah.
Fine with that.
They'll get dark humor. That's the main thing. Like, will they get dark humor? Like, a working class places tend to.
Yeah. I think it's because they don't have time to overanalyze things.
No, give it to me on a plate quickly, because
they're not going to be after being like, why did he choose that exact words? They're going to go home and be like, right, I have to be up at 6 a.m. because of fucking work.
Mortgage. That's where mortgage or rent. That's where it ends up with most people in working class areas. They're like, well, what can you get it into my head quick? Because I've got to go. They won't remember your name. They won't remember fuck all about you.
No. Did you make them? They'll remember if you were funny. They'll remember that. And they'll remember you as that guy there with the jacket.
Yeah.
He was funny.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But because that's always been my thing with stand-up. Like, I know there's a lot of people love it to be crafted, multi-layered, which is fine. If that's what you like, that's fine. Make me laugh. Tell me something funny.
Yeah.
That's all I give a shit about. So yeah, we did that, and then so it was this thing about doing like a big fucking TV. I'd never done TV before, and I remember getting into stand-up. You're like, oh, TV will be amazing. That's the dream. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, it's dirt. It's dirt, isn't it?
It's a day of fucking about. And you're like, just, can you stand there? How loud are you going to be? And I'm like, depending on how well it's going, like, I'll be loud. And they're doing audio levels, and they're doing camera levels, and you can't walk past here, can't walk past there. And by the end of it, you're almost relieved it's over.
Yeah. Were they weirding out the audience, like, during people's sets where they were going, okay, guys, so what we're going to have to, like, was there a big production going on, or did it roll smoothly like a comedy club?
See, in fairness to them, it did roll quite smoothly.
Oh, good, right.
The only things I had to do is like retakes of people, like their intros and outros and stuff. That stuff had to be done a couple of times. But in terms of getting the acts on back to back fairly quickly.
Well, that's all right, because I've been in that one I was telling you about with the flies. That one, oh my lord, they'd come out on stage.
Was that start and stop?
Well, the lads, in fairness, that were filming it, that were the production company, God bless them, but they were set up for like a fucking fucking hair rock, big hair rock fucking band. They had fucking things on fucking gantries. They had roving, like, and we're going, literally, lads, a 3-camera setup would do this. 1 on some cunt who's laughing in the audience and 2 on the stage. That's it. That's all you fucking need. But they'd come out and they'd nearly stop your set, like, to come out and go, okay, so what we needed. And then at the end product was they cut it together and they must have jumbled up their files or something. They were literally putting people in the audience that weren't actually there at all that night because it was filmed over a couple of nights.
Right.
At one point, my girlfriend, now wife, was sitting there on a night that the person on stage wasn't there at all. And it was during a break where she was just looking down at her phone. They decided
and they saw that, man, that clip needs to go in.
Yeah, that woman who's not paying any attention at all. Yeah, she needs to be put in, yeah. And you're like, Jesus Christ.
Like, they're scanning during the break, man, like, this is where the good shit is.
Yeah.
That dude scratching his arse, row 3. Get him.
But they've done it, like, and it almost came off the rails in another one I did in Galway, which it was in the middle of the day in a big fucking tent where there's no atmosphere anyway, and everybody's sober. And in fairness, Danny O'Brien was working his whole off to get some, and he was basically saying, guys, look, this is telly. It's going to be weird. There's cameras around. Forget about it. Look, we're going to have a good fucking time. You're all sober. Fucking give it fucking socks, because we're all in this together, kind of a thing. Worked his whole off, and because I wanted to go on first because I had to leg it to another gig. And so I was about to go on. He was about to announce my name, and this producer bird comes over. She goes, "Tom, is that?" I went, "Yeah, it's Tom. Yeah." And she says, "Yeah, can you wait about 60 seconds after he says your name, and then go?" And I says, "What? So you want them to stay clapping for 60 seconds, Danny with his hand out, and you'll cut it together nice and smooth?" She said, yeah, something like that. I went, "No, that's not going to happen. No." She went, "What?" I says, "Why? What's the fucking problem?" Because at least I was old enough. It wasn't a competition. It was just, it was a show, a TV show. At least I was old enough at that stage and enough maturity to tell her to go, fuck off. Because you don't know.
Just outright. No,
you don't know what's happening here.
What was the justification for why that was?
One thing, because they were thinking like TV, like they were filming a TV show where you can stop things and tell actors to get going again. Where you don't, you can fake, fucking energy in a room, on a drama. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas this was real. I was, no, it will come across on camera. I was trying to say this to her all quick. I said, what's the fucking problem? Is there something broke? She goes, "There's something on the stage that we need struck off the stage, taken off the stage." I said, "What?" She's like, "It's an additional microphone. It just doesn't, microphone stand, it doesn't work right. It's sitting up." I said, "Tell you what, you have your fellow wait at the side of the stage. When I get up there, I'll fuck it off."
Yeah.
And in that moment, you can take a shot of the audience, throw it in there. She's like, no. So you're going to wait. And literally, Danny just said my name and I took off like the fucking Ultimate Warrior, running. Your one was trying to catch me and everything. I was like, ah! I caught the microphones. I don't even know if there was somebody waiting. I just went, fuck that.
I just fucked it off stage.
Just because it was the most redundant fucking thing. But again, another person who had no appreciation for, like, Jesus Christ, your man's have to work his bollocks off here to make a fucking show of this for people, like.
It's one thing I've learned as you get more professional about comedy and you start to learn more about it being a business. There's a lot of people in it just see it as a business and they don't know what is funny.
Oh yeah.
And it's so difficult trying to explain. You're saying stuff to them and they're like, "Well, why don't you change that word?" And you're like, "Because that ruins everything."
Yeah.
It's not funny. Trying to explain why something's funny to people who don't understand what's funny is a fucking nightmare.
I've had several times. I think it was another radio show that I was on. I was actually in the radio and somebody was ringing in. They were saying something. Well, I thought that something it wasn't funny. And my straight out answer was, "What would you know about it?"
Oh, such a cunty answer. I love that though. But you're right. You are right. But I love that. Like you weren't even like polite about it.
No. But what would you know about it? Well, excuse me. No. I'm not trying to be rude. But tell me, what would you know about funny. Or humor? Like, what would you know? I know what's funny. Do you? Because I've been studying this hard for 14 years. When was the last time you professionally had to be funny? What do you do? I'm a school teacher. I would never tell you how to be a school teacher. I know nothing about it. No, nothing about children. Yeah. Do you get where I'm going with this?
Give that a go. I might.
You know what I mean?
Give that a try.
Because you know what you like. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean you fucking know what it is. You know what I mean?
That's one thing that, like, as you get into it more, it pisses you off when people are like, "Oh, they're not funny." And you're like, no, you don't find it funny, which
Yeah.
is fair. You're allowed to do that. It's like, well, like when you hear guys in the pub and they're like, "Beatles were shite, weren't they?" And you're like, I don't know. I don't agree with that assessment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they certainly fooled a lot of fucking people if they were shite. Like, you know what I mean? Fucking cunts made fucking hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, yeah.
I'm sitting backstage every show, like, I can't believe we're getting away with this again, man.
Yeah. Just going out there and shouting words at people.
Yeah.
I had no concept the time you were telling me. It was the first time you brought it up on stage, and I was like, I had no concept of that you had a disability.
Yeah.
I had no concept of it at all. Like, and it's something that's drilled into your head, isn't it too? It's another perception where you're like, oh, well, of course I know what is it cerebral palsy?
Yeah, it is cerebral palsy, yeah.
Oh, what does that affect in you then as your individual?
So it tightens the muscles. I have the condition's called spastic hemiplegia, where it affects one side of your body.
Right.
So I don't have it in. You can get quadriplegics and hemiplegics, loads of different kinds. I only have it in my right arm and my right leg. Over time, like when I was younger, really didn't affect me that much. As you get older, it's like I will get tired about 4 times the rate of the average person my age would.
It's because you're fighting it to stop clamping up, like, so it's like a workout on that side of the body.
Yeah, so like this is as far as that arm will bend. If you can see, it's not even fully down, right? And imagine my leg does that as well. So my leg doesn't fully extend. So over a while, your hips start to get fucked up. The joints in your body start to get fucked up. So it's like a gradual thing. And only really comes out in me when I'm tired. When I'm very tired, I played a football match with the other comedians, and at the end, like, I needed like help carried off. And Mickey Bartlett was like, "Fuck, you really are disabled." Yeah, I was like, I didn't just make it up. I didn't just say it on stage one
that
night.
Would be unbelievable. And you know what? You could fucking in today's climate, 10, 15 years ago, you couldn't, because people go, "I want to fucking see medical proof." Nowadays, you could say it, and nobody would ask. Nobody would ask to see any proof. They go, okay, all right. Because for all intents and purposes, you're grand.
Yeah, but I've started doing routines about this more. Initially, when I did disability humor, it was very simple, disabled jokes. Now I'm kind of going into it more, and I'm kind of doing jokes about, like, people will just look, like, disability can affect any sense of your body. People will only see, they only judge with their eyes. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it can affect any part of your body, but if they go, I can't see it, it's not fucking real. That's how people ended up thinking COVID wasn't real, because they're like, I can't see it.
Yeah.
It's not literally spitting through me. So if I can't see it, it doesn't exist.
Well, it's nearly like the selfish comedy thing for people too. It's like, well, I don't find it funny, so it's not fucking funny. You're like, no, it's funny.
A lot of comedians are also like, anytime you say something that's a bit wacky or out of the ordinary, they're like, oh, it's not real. And you're like, why would I make that up?
No, I definitely didn't think you made it up, but do you know what? There was almost a level of embarrassment in me. I was like, oh, I'm so undereducated and ignorant when it comes to people's disabilities. Right. Okay. Fair enough. It wasn't at any point I was going to ask you to fucking, all right, let's see you do a fucking deadlift. Prove it. Prove it.
Which I can do, by the way, but painfully. I get to, and I work with other disabled comics, though. I'm also like fuck you. We're all taking the piss here, aren't we? Like, but then again, I even feel guilt for it, for not looking that bad when, like, I board airplanes early. Like,
yes,
I get to board planes. Whenever I go on like a lad's holiday, I basically go, right, who wants to carry my bags, and you can board the plane with me, right? But then we have to sit in the part with the really people on fucking chairs with oxygen masks.
And you're sitting there just
get like wheeled by a team of, so like
juggling,
unveiling Darth Vader, like that level of machinery. And I'm sitting there being like, oh, my knees hurt, so we're the same. Like, even then, I feel guilt for it.
But you shouldn't. That's your thing. Listen, hey, there's people getting away with far frailer fucking veils that they're pulling over themselves, going, well, I am this, so, you know, I
have vertigo.
You know, I'm balding. I have male pattern baldness, but I don't identify as that. So, you know, it's really harsh on me, you know, so... Yeah, top billing, please.
That was the thing for me. I used to always like try and play it down. I still do play it down a bit, but I also now, when I'm like, you know what, I'm tired. I'm not justifying it to you. I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
But it's a thing with all disabled people. You'll get a guy with no arms, no legs, no wheelchair, being like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I can get it myself. Do you know what? And you're like, you can't. It's fine that you can't. But it's just a thing that's in you. You're always told. It's like, I think it might be an Irish thing.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
For sure, it's an Irish thing.
Don't gurn.
No, I'm grand. No, you're not. That's a bullet wound to the head, and you have no arms or legs. So no, I'm grand.
There's disabled people in the famine too, so you're lucky. You're lucky. You may be disabled, but you can eat. Do you know what I mean?
But do you know what? I do like the fact that you lean in, because anytime I've ever seen you, not everybody does it, but there is a genre of stand-up in Northern Ireland where lads just lean into the whole Northern Irish thing heavily, which I find you don't tend to do. Is that a conscious thing that you've sidestepped it a bit, kind of going, fucking, I can make funny from other shit? Do you know what I mean?
It depends where I am.
Right. Yeah.
I have that in the back pocket. I have jokes that are certainly about that. It's not my whole deal.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a rough bar in East Belfast, I'm gonna do 5-10 minutes of religious stuff and like societal stuff to get them on side.
You gotta.
And then you do the fingering jokes, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be aware of, well, I can't, if I want to do this as a job, I can't be on stage in London.
Yeah. They wouldn't have a fucking
Jerry
clue.
Adams jokes, do you know? And I have Jerry Adams jokes, but you can't. You only do that in certain places. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But So it's I don't really lean into it, and I wouldn't criticize anyone that does. That's their style. It's not for me personally, but yeah, it's the same as down south. So you get a lot would lean into the whole like Irish mammies is a thing that as soon as I hear that, my mind just like monkey with the cymbals. I'm like, I'll tune back in 5 minutes.
Well, there's a whole thing of too, when so many have gone over the ground of when Ireland was doing really well, getting money from Europe and stuff like that. And it's like, do you remember what? And it's like, we got money from Germany. Well, it was technically from the entire EU, but okay, all right, fair enough. We got, and there is that too, like, but I suppose the thing that amazes me too about when lads do kind of is the knowledge of geography around Northern Ireland. Like, are you really well versed on where fucking places are? Because some mounted lads know where fucking places are on the other side of the island from them. Like, talking about towns, like, what about fucking Ballyhashamuckary? And we're going, how the fuck do you, lads? I'm not joking with you. There are people who have lived near where I'm living who don't know literally fucking 10-mile radius around it because they don't give a fuck. Is that you? Yeah.
That's why I'll be in places being like, where the fuck are we?
Good.
Partially because of brain damage, I do forget where I live from time to time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've driven past my... I mean, my brain's so weird. I remember every person I've ever seen naked. Can't remember my PIN number. I don't know why. It just retains. Do you know what I mean? I forget my address, but I know every Eminem lyric. It's the weirdest retention of information that's not needed. But I can't remember shit. There will be times you're in like Tuckmona, and I'm like, where the fuck is this?
It's a thing that always flabbergasted me. But also, like, I don't know. Maybe it's a lot of lads just take the whole of Northern Ireland in as one. I assume that's all it can be. But I can tell you one thing right now. Somebody like from Cork, like that chap Roger would not have one fucking clue of any other place bar where he's from in Cork.
Really?
Guarantee. I'm telling you now. Because why would he give a fuck? He's like, why would I give a fuck? Why? What's to fucking know about it? Everything's the fucking exact same. Like, you know what I mean?
See, I think that's the key difference is I won't know an exact place, but there's little cute clues around like a village if you're going through it of what kind of area this is.
Right.
And the way Northern Ireland is, I could go 5 minutes up the road and the entire political belief of them, the way they were raised is entirely different. You go 5 minutes up the road and they speak differently, like entirely differently.
That's one thing that blew my mind was like, because I've been around it so much, is that the variance of how quickly, but then you can categorize where you fucking are because there's another 100 places exactly fucking like that place. Do you know what I mean? That all like they fucking love a flag. They fucking
they do.
They fucking love a flag. That's the business I'm going into. Fucking me and you selling flags as not flags, flags. That'll be the name of the company, flags.
Yeah.
or just selling flags. Cause
they fucking love them.
Before
There are
I-
shops dedicated to just flags. Nothing else. Not confectionery, not vapes, flags, just flags. Just as bigoted as the day is long, flags.
I could not think of a fucking more boring afternoon than having to put up a flag. Do you know what I mean? Like literally I could go flying kites fucking and I would have more interest in it. I mean, pointless as both ventures are, but putting up any kind of flag, just going, what am I telling the world? What the fuck?
What's normally written on the flag? Like,
Yeah, right. It's pretty much on the nose. In fairness, there's not a lot to wonder.
Like 3 different horrible views on one flag. It's like fuck gays, fuck blacks, fuck Catholics, Union Jack, and you're like, well, I know what you think. It's on the front of your house. It's a brazen statement.
I'm not fond of fucking jug and rash either. You know what I mean? I'm not, and I could take her fucking leave cats. Just saying.
Yeah.
There's
so many times you'll see a flag and you're like, that word's so much nastier when it's written.
I know, and I've been places in the north where literally people have looked at me like going, fucking hell, like literally stood off the fucking Starship Enterprise with 3 fucking eyes, and he went,
yeah,
fuck, I heard about you, but I didn't. Think he actually.
Northern Ireland's a place you can go where people do weird shit. But they'll look at you like you're weird. They'll be covered head to toe in shit and look at you weird because you're wearing like a coat.
Yeah,
it's that kind of country. They're what the fuck are you doing?
Because I remember because I was literally, it was like looking in at a fucking aquarium. I remember one night I was in Oma and I got stopped going into the town because it was March 18th. I'll remember the date because it's fucking easy to remember because it was the day after St. Patrick's Day and I was doing a gig in Daly's and a cop stopped me outside the town and he was stopping all traffic. It wasn't just fucking my car. And I was like, you'll not get into there. You won't. They're practicing marching. And in my head, I thought, isn't that dedication? Because they have another 360 fucking 3 days to go before St. Patrick's Day and they're fucking practicing already. Fair play to them. And the guy, I said all this in my head in a millisecond, and the copper looked at me. He was like, it's not that kind of marching. He fucking knew what was going on in my retarded brain. And he was like, it's not that kind of marching. I started laughing. I went, oh. And he went, I says, is it worth a look? I says, because I've got to do some comedy. He goes, he says, you'll pick up some fucking tips. He says, watching these lads.
Yeah.
I walked out. These fellas just, like, it was the Technicolor fucking dream coat on all these lads, but the irony was they were all so fucking serious. There's no fucking crack in it at all. Yet you're dressed like you're ready to party. You know what I mean? Like, but you're not partying.
If you go on the 12th is very much the margin's in the background, but you're allowed to do drugs in the street. That's why people they're like, hold my baby, I'll do a line, give me my baby back. But the people who marched on days that aren't the 12th, psychopaths.
These guys, they'd taken up the whole town and it was allowed.
Oh, yeah.
It was allowed. That was the thing. No fucking traffic in. These guys were allowed on what basis, I don't know. But I mean, the county council should have been.
Because if you question it, it's just a whole thing.
Imagine.
Just go let them fucking walk. It'll be on Nolan. It'll be everywhere. Just let them walk.
Was there ever that, like, was that ever on your view line growing up as a young fella? Do you know what I mean? Where you were?
I'd have been in the walk. Like,
would you?
Yeah, it's weird. You never get a pro in comedy. It's weird. I think me and Dave Elliott are the only ones. Yeah, I would have been in the walk. And I'm fully aware of the irony of a fucking Protestant who can't march. But, like...
I was going to say it, but I left it there for you. Fuck it.
Yeah, they just let me in the back of the car and I'd get out and do a wee run and they'd be like, I'm tired, put me back in it.
Bring out wheels up front.
Couldn't even do the band pole properly. Like, I was fucking shit.
Was it you're like, fuck all this, or was it the fact that the leg was given out?
When you're young and you're brought up in it, you do enjoy it. It's as you get older. For me personally, some people stay in that forever. That's fine. That's weird for me, but I wouldn't do it. But they like it. They love it. It's a big community thing.
Okay, right. Because it's again, you don't hear about this. How is it a community thing? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like there's people growing up and all their friends and family are in it. That's their life. Their life is this organization.
Isn't that that's like I again trying to put myself in. If I tried to ask anybody around here to get involved in band practice, for the want of a better phrase, the fuck offs would be so harsh that I have too much on. I can't possibly dedicate any time to this cause at all. But then, of course, there's nothing to rally around. Whereas, you know what I mean?
You were brought up in it, like, when you're young, you wouldn't question it. You just assume everybody does this. It's a thing. It's only when you get older, you're like, the fuck do you mean you don't do it? It's one thing I love about the Orange Order, though, for like an organization so into walking. A lot of fat cunts.
That's the thing I noticed that night. It was like, lads, ye are getting into carbs. I'll tell you that much. Because fuck me, you walked up and down that fucking street 40 fucking times and you're still keeping the weight on. How is this? How are you doing it?
Because they're doing it while like necking like a 2 liter of Coke and going back and getting the burger from the van. Like,
I had noticed a bit of that. All right, lads,
there's not a healthy fucker in a single one of those bands. They're all near death.
Is there anybody totally shit? That what's the shittest gig to get on that? Where you like, you're fucking rubbish on the drum, lad. You're fucking rubbish. You have nothing going. We're just putting you walking. Or is like, are you
triangle? You'd be on the if you're completely shit. They'll be like, try not to fuck this up, right? You can get a ding. That can be you. That's what you get. It's a triangle.
I want to give a go at the triangle because I wouldn't chance the drum. The big
drum or the... Yeah. Well, like the drum is quite hard. It is hard to do that drum, and I couldn't do it.
They are good at it. They're like those lads from Drumline. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Some of them are amazing. Like some of the best bigoted musicians you'll ever see.
Yeah, I mean, where else could they enter competitions? Do you know what I mean?
There are competitions around the world. Like, it's weirdly big in Germany.
Is that right?
They'll fly to other countries and do competitions and stuff. Yeah, it's like a year-round thing.
Isn't that like, because I was only talking with Darren Matthews a couple of weeks ago. I was up in Newry and he was saying he'd love to do Cork because he's fascinated with road bowling. Have you ever seen this thing with a steel ball about the size of we'll say a baseball, and there's different ounces, there's different size, but this rock fucking solid, was steel solid fucking ball on country roads, and mostly around Cork, north side of the city, twisty fucking roads, and it's essentially like golf in that the fewest amount of shots to get to a point, and that's the idea of this. And these guys, they do this. You have to look this up, right? These guys.
That sounds like a sport that you'd end up watching like at 3 a.m. on Bravo.
You would think, but the only thing is, it's not played anywhere, like on any pitch. It's not played. It's played on fucking public roads, country roads. And these lads do this big twirly thing, and they fuck this ball for all it's fucking worth up the road. And then like they could put a spin on it to get it around the bend and stuff. But typically, it ends up in a fucking ditch of some sort. And guys then have to root it out and they mark it and they move on. I got hit by one. My car got hit by one morning. And I was the dickhead for being in the way of this ball. Like, I mean, it nearly dropped the fucking engine block out of the fucking car. Like, it hit me like a cannon. But they play it somewhere in Armagh. They do, like, and nowhere else in the country. And
I've never heard of this.
And in Holland. I don't know.
And just in Holland. Like, that's so just in Holland.
And just in Holland. But I used to do a bit about it because Paul Crowley's a comic down there, and his uncle lost a leg to it. Like, it hit his leg and burst it open so bad. He lost.
You don't get any benefits. You don't get a Parkinson's. You just lose a leg for being a dick.
But there's huge money, like, because Traveller lads are involved as well on the betting on it. So there's huge wads of cash being talked about. Like, but he lost, and he was doing it. I was like, this cunt hit me, and I was the asshole. But I talked about Paul's fucking uncle losing, or granduncle losing his leg. But I said, you know where else they play it? They play one other place, Holland. What have they in Holland? No fucking bends and flat fucking roads. Because it's a damned fucking place. You cunts don't know what the fuck are you doing? It doesn't make sense. But again, such a random thing that nowhere in the country plays it. Like nowhere else even in Cork plays. It's not really around even Cork County. It's just this one kind of small enclave and one enclave in Armagh. Play it, and that's it. And they play each other and travel back and forth to Holland to play each other at the fucking thing.
That's an insane sport.
watch it if you can. What it like you're watching
It's
it
called
going.
steel bowling.
It's as hard as like it's a hard fucking road. They call it bowling, but it's bowling is what it is, and it's the fewest amount of shots to get to a point and back. But again, like you spend 90% of it spent trying to dig that same thing, that ball out of the fucking ditch. Yeah.
Not have 10-pin bowling like the rest of the fucking civilized world.
No. Imagine actual old people. You know, what's that one? They play lawn bowls, but they throw it really gently. Yeah. Imagine somebody on a load of ketamine, but also testosterone up to their fucking eyes with loads of power in their arm. And put them in. That's essentially it. That's essentially it. Versus lawn bowls is road bowling. So they fuck shit up.
And did the person who had your car at least have to pay for the car?
Oh yeah. Oh fuck yeah.
I was gonna say like
there was like they surrounded the car. Like I was fuck you, get the fuck out of here kind of a thing. Like, and I lost the fucking rag. And at the time I was the construction days where I loved a good fucking row.
Yeah,
and I got out with a fucking iron bar, just held it up to you, man. But this is all these cunts understood. I was like, yeah, you're paying for that. Yeah, and as he overpaid on the day. But they like you want to see the wedge that came out of his arse pocket. We're talking fucking thick wedge that came out, and he was like, "All right, the fuck, go on to fuck." I said, "No, you go on to fuck, you cunts. There's fucking steel balls around the fucking road like a bunch of fucking lunatics. What are you doing? Fuck up. Put up a flag." Put up a fucking flag. Tell me.
Yeah. At least when we were marching, you can hear us like in the distance. You're like, like a storm. You're like, it's getting closer.
But that's the thing, though. Like, there's like Belfast, especially, it's the microclimate of the oddity of how people love to join a team, don't they? Like, not sports wise, but they just love a team. Like, I found I sell better in Belfast than I do here in Tipperary. I do. Because because people have just got, I like him and I'll go see him every time. That's it. Whereas here's like, fuck it, I saw him one time. You know, there's like, fuck it.
Yeah. But we're almost too much like that in Belfast where like, it come see you loads.
Yeah.
I had someone see me in the Odyssey, in the Ulster Hall and in Lavery's within a 2-week space. And then they were like, you did the same jokes every night. I'm like, yeah. You've seen me in 2-3 times in 2 weeks. That's how this works.
If you saw Neil Diamond 3 times in 2 weeks, he'd sing the same fucking song. So fuck
same order and everything. Shite. It's the amount of people do think we make it up on the spot. And they're like, why don't you just make it up on your spot? Because it'd be shit. Yeah. You know yourself, you have your bits where you go off.
Oh, yeah. You
know what I mean? Like, I'm not sticking to a script every night, but you need material.
For fuck's sake, yeah.
That's one of my favorite things. When someone's new to stand up, they're like, I'm just going to get up and do it. And I'm always like, I'm what? Like, I'm like, tell me when he's on.
Yeah.
I'm now bored of good stand-up. Give me terrible stand-up.
Oh, well, those are the moments you wait for, like, you know what I mean? Or especially even your friends. If for some reason you're doing a gig somewhere where there shouldn't be comedy. You know, like, comedy clubs, you'll always be fine. Because it's literally the name is on the fucking tin. But when you get a fucking lineup of you get booked to do a fucking, I don't know, some fucking horse racing pub somewhere and you're in there and nobody's told anybody what's going on and you land in, you're like, so we're going to do some jokes. And like, the fuck? Jesus, pint ruined. And I feel bad because you're assaulting people with something they don't fucking want. Like, you know, you got to get through it. Like, oh, Jesus Christ.
I love gigs like that where they don't even look up.
Yeah.
Like the conversation doesn't end, and you're like, "Oh God."
Yeah. I've done a few of them where it's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna pack it in, will I? Will I just pack it in and sit up at the counter with you and have a couple of pints because this is not right at all." You know, like I'm assaulting. Like we did a couple, a few months ago now. We did them for colleges around Dublin, and most were grand. They were an events company that put these on, but they clearly had only a grasp of how to put up a good tent. That's all they had.
That's it, yeah.
And rock up with a fucking mic and a sound system. That's what they, as an events company, that's what they classified themselves as being good at. You're like, okay, well, there's definitely a couple of more things. Like, you could put up a sign and say, during your sandwich, you poor little cunts who are training to be teachers, while there'll be somebody telling some jokes. But when they don't even do that, it's like literally a fucking marker and a A4 page. Just put that and some sellotape, stick it at the door of the tent. Because there was one particular one where it's like this open-sided gazebo thing. And to say that these people were not ready, they were young, like they were all 17, 18. They were just, no. Like it was, can you imagine it? Sitting there like in your, so I saw this girl. And then all of a sudden, some bloke with a big fucking mustache is going, how you doing? Get it? Oh, yeah. Like what the fuck is that going to, that's nobody's benefiting from that.
Yeah, especially at that, like, even when you see really young people at the gig, like, I'm like, I always keep an eye on them. I'm like, because you're just here to get drunk, you wee fucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As I would have been at your age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What did you're not that much fucking older. How old are you?
Yeah.
You 23?
I'm like 25.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. 25.
Time is frozen for me. You were 23 the last time I met you. Literally.
Yeah, that's how long it's been since I've seen you.
Yeah.
To be fair, I started stand-up at 17.
Did you though?
Yeah.
Was it like a college bit or what? Now this is how people who want to do interviews on comedians, just take 48 minutes to go around the houses, and that's how you find out how a comedian got into comedy. Don't just ask him straight up the top. Take your time, and eventually he will tell you.
Yeah. Ask him what the fuck's wrong with him first, and then eventually we'll get around the disabled. Tell us a bit more about that. Yeah.
Was it in college you started then?
I was in school.
School
class. That's it. You know Kieran Bartlett.
Yeah.
The first time I ever met Kieran, I was doing a gig, and he thought I was the same age as McCann. He thought I was in his uni class, and I did a bit. Or he went, "Oh, what are you up to after?" And McCann was like, "Oh, I have lectures tomorrow," and I went, "I've school tomorrow, and I need to go."
Homework.
and Kieran laughed, and I went, "No, I'm being dead serious. Like I have like double politics tomorrow morning."
I love that you had a class of politics. What? No wonder. There was actually a class of politics in your school. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's my A level. I've got an A level in politics.
That makes
perfect. That's what I did my degree in. Useless.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah.
But that's and I often wonder, how do you know so much about? Oh, that's why. That's why. Literally, we were taught how to make fucking steel diggers, and maybe how an oxbow lake works. That's about it.
I mean, in the real world, it's useless because they're like, can you change that tire? I'm like, no, but I can't tell you how a bill is passed if you need to know. Like it's one of those. I'm glad I did it for comedy though.
Yeah, of course.
I have good knowledge. So like, even if I make a political joke, it's not like me misunderstanding something.
Yes.
I can sort of equate it to something else. And there will always be something happening in politics, always, forever.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing that I did. But yeah, that's a useless fucking degree. Completely terrible.
What was the hope to come out of it?
I liked it at the time. I don't anymore. I think the pandemic ruined it for me.
Yeah.
Politics for me was like, do you know when you like a band that no one else is really listening to and you're like, I'm into this? Then everybody got involved and I'm like, I don't enjoy this anymore.
And in fairness, if anything, the pandemic in the last 4 years has really shown that
2016 was
peaked.
Every political rule just got fucked out the window, and I'm like, I don't even know what's happening. I can't predict anything.
Especially on the English side of things, when you pull back the curtain and go, oh, you're all just a bunch of posh cunts, and that's what it qualifies to get in here, not actually wanting to do anything for the good of the nation. Right? Okay, sorry for bothering you.
We did. My politics teacher used to do that. He would give us a breakdown of like what Parliament was made up of, and something like 2% never went to Oxbridge.
2%.
So, don't quote me on that. It's something as insanely small as that.
Sure, how many prime ministers all were Etonians? Like it's like a huge volume of them. Like, come on.
I don't think there's any who didn't. Either Oxford, Cambridge. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of them were. I can't think of any that weren't.
And you're supposed to take logic from somebody who went to a school like that. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. Because I remember it was Maxwell was telling me, because we were talking about the oddity, the layers, especially like in England, the layers of the class system. And when you get to a certain point, it's like, I didn't realize these people actually existed. I thought this was just stuff Family Guy took the piss out of.
Yeah.
But they're
like a fucking Charles Dickens villain. Like
I remember we went to a thing in the UK because Natasha's kind of posh, and she had friends who were in England who were posh, but not ridiculous, but just they knew where the forks went and where these sort of things. Where a fucking canine like me is sitting at the table just licking the fucking seat, like. But she's, but we went to this thing where it was these friends of theirs were back from America, and rather than just all meeting in the pub to say hello, they fucking booked out this manor for the weekend. I was like, oh my Jesus. And some of the lads, like her husband went to Harrow, Harrow on the hill, and fucking some of his friends, you were going, how do you exist? What are you doing? You're 20.
You're ridiculous.
You're 20. You're 23 and you're wearing a dicky bow. Not ironically. Like, not ironically, these cunts, like, you're going, what the fuck, lad?
Yeah.
I got him wrecked that night. There was a party out in a DJ out in the barn, converted barn. I fucking depth charged all their fucking drinks and everything. They were all I had them all singing fucking Republican songs by the end of it. It was very silly. But I was telling this to Maxwell, and Maxwell went, "Oh, he says that's only the tip of the iceberg to the scary levels of." Himself and Glenn Wool were doing one for Cambridge one time, doing a show at some tiny little festival that was in the grounds of was it, I can't remember, I think it was Cambridge. And he said afterwards they were fucking off, like they were going, all right, thanks very much. And it was in some hall or whatever. And they were walking across, let's say they were walking by a river near the quad or whatever. And lo and behold, there's he thought it was part of a Renaissance fair, these people, the way they were carrying on, right?
Yeah.
It was like these girls in nice flowery dresses were sitting on this bench as this chap was singing to him, come maiden fair in the and he was looking with Wool going, the fuck is this? They thought it was a performance. So they stood there going, hey, it's fucking good. And they were like, can we bloody well help you, Petty? I was like, fucking what? Can we bloody well help you? It's like, oh no, we just did a show one day there, so we were just appreciating. I am wooing these, and it basically give this whole spiel about how dare you. I went, these are really, really good fucking actors, aren't they?
So real.
And it just transpired over the next minute that this group of dudes and girls that were there were all real people, but they were actually speaking like it was 1922. They were ridiculous. Like the master of arms, who was the fucking security there, where most fucking colleges would hire from a security firm, some cunt with neck tattoos. This fellow was actually he was in the cadets to be high up in the army, but he was actually a student there too of sorts. And he was in kind of this snazzy looking uniform. And he started rolling up his sleeves. He goes, well, I should give you a bloody good thrashing if you won't leave, Petty. And he went to was swinging digs at him and stuff. He was like, I want to get my hole kicked just to have a story out of this. And those, you can't lump yourself in with the likes of those people. And they're thinking and go, oh, we're all in this together, are we? Because you clearly are not even on the same planet. You know what I mean?
I even find when I'm with anyone who's even remotely middle class, I get staunchly working class.
Do you? Yeah, dig your heels in. Yeah, you're right.
I really do. I get so angry. If someone has a conservatory, there's a bit of me that's like,
yeah, fuck off.
And have us back right where I'm fucking from. I mean, we had a 50-inch TV and Wi-Fi. I'm not from the fucking ghetto, and I'm still like, oh, you have two dogs? Do you purebreds? You fucking. Very good, man. Very good. You don't know struggles. Fuck up. No, I can't help it.
Was there ever a point though where you were kind of hiding, small? Because I know there was a period in my early 20s where I was like, because what lads tend to do around here is they move away and then they hate the countryside, fuck, and they change their accents and stuff like that. And I don't think I did that to that extent, but I definitely tried to be a bit posh for a good year period. I think there was a knob period I don't know what it was. It was like, oh, maybe I was finding myself, but
I have never had that. I don't think, no. I've always just thought I enjoy being from a big city. I enjoy being in other cities and stuff, but I don't like the posh areas of cities. I like going to shitholes and seeing other shitholes, because that's where you'll find the most ridiculous people and the funniest shit. I just love them. I love going to the shithole places and just people watching. See, sitting down with a wee coffee in Glasgow. Oh, sit there for 20 minutes and you'll see something.
The mad jokes in Glasgow, fucking mad jokes. I got attacked by a 7-foot transvestite one night, I looked like a swan. It was I was getting the head punched off me, but I was laughing the entire time. It was the funniest altercation that I've ever been involved with. It was just...
How did that? Why did you end up getting punched by a 7-foot?
She was completely out of order. Fucking, in fairness, and it was pointed out to me that I didn't incite it that much. But again, my girlfriend wife, I was gigging in the stand, and she came over with me, and we were there with, was it Vince and there was a couple of more comedians there, and just this fucking Goliath was standing beside me, like easily like 6'9", 6'10", and it was like all in white, like a big white wingy fucking dress thing, and I got a fucking shock. I was like, fuck. And all of a sudden this dude voice came out. It was like, this is RuPaul fucking standing there, and all of a sudden this fucking, Rabsy fucking Nesbitt starts fucking spitting fucking. I'm like, what? This is fucking and it was literally like an overload. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And all of a sudden digs started coming, and I mean, they were feeble. I was surprised how feeble a punch they were, like, but it was just, in the moment I was going, I wish I wasn't as drunk as I am right now, because I'm going to need to remember all of this. This is, and I wasn't even that drunk, because we hadn't been out that long, and we'd been in that bar 3 fucking minutes, and this happened. It was like, oh, right, fucking, you do mental in Glasgow. You do it. Oh, you do it deliciously well. Like,
it's great. I love gigging in Scotland in general. I was over with Shane over in November. We were doing a tour of the stands, and they were fucking amazing. Yeah.
There was a guy, he used to be, to give you, and this is when anybody asks me what Glasgow's like, if I don't tell that story, there's just an example of people. I remember in the stand in Glasgow, the guy who managed the bar threw out a lesbian that was trying to fucking make her way to the stage to punch me for a fuck knows what. I must have, it was the same night. I don't know what haircut I must have had or what the fuck.
Yeah.
But I might have said,
the gay community was against you that night.
I might have said, sorry, sir, at one point when she piped up. Hardly a reason, but she was out of, apparently she was giving shit to everybody. Like, she gave shit to Foil Arms and Hog. You know what I mean? What the fuck are the lads doing?
Like? No. Yeah. They don't even, there's no room to give them shit.
Oh, but was being a cunt from beginning to end. But the guy who threw her out, who had enough of her shit, was the manager. And he had fangs. He had actual fangs. Implants, like fangs. Like that's a normal thing, and I can't stop looking at his teeth as he's going, sorry, I mean, it's a fucking, great set.
I pointed, to get her out there, he was going like,
he never even used them. I'm like, that's the first thing. That is the biggest flex of all time. You're like, just smile. Literally just smile, and anybody will run. This guy had fangs.
He looks like fucking Cat from Red Dwarf. He's just running a bar.
And he just walked, like, how he didn't point, like, I didn't, it'd be the first thing you would say. Like, if you had a fucking glass eye, you know what I mean? That'd be the first thing you would go, I just fucking shouldn't have fucking,
yeah.
No. Like, the fact that this guy had fangs.
He didn't even reference.
And there was
the fact he had fangs.
There was 3 or 4 other people that were from the audience. It was after the show, and they were standing there. They wanted to photograph or whatever. And they were kind of in the conversation of going, she was a fucking, she was a pain in the hole. And I looked at them, and they weren't looking at his teeth either. Like, I was kind of going, am I fucking imagining this? Am I imagining this moment? I'm definitely seeing white spikes in your man's mouth. And he saw me kind of looking up into it. And that would be the point. If you had a shit haircut, somebody wouldn't stop looking at it. You go, yeah, it's a shit haircut. He didn't, it was so norm, is what I'm saying. It seemed to be so in the norm for these people that were there, himself. And I'm the only fucking weirdo who was wondering why this man, looked like fucking Dracula. It didn't fucking... Incredible. And on the same night, I got attacked by a 7-foot fucking transvestite swan. It was phenomenal.
I wonder, did he have his teeth filed, or was he wearing just like plastic fangs, like Halloween costume fangs?
These were beyond his normal teeth.
These are Louis Theroux documentary feature fangs.
Yeah, he went to a man and said, "Fangs, please." Man made fangs, stuck them either over his teeth or fucking pulled out said teeth and jammed in fucking spikes instead. It was, and that was my synopsis of a night in Glasgow. It's like, okay, All right. Fucking hell. And when did you bring around Mudblood? What a fucking name for a podcast. Brilliant.
And I'll have to give full credit to Paddy for that, because he came up with the idea for it, which is, it's a term that means half Catholic, half Protestant.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's kind of a Harry Potter thing too. If you're not the full breed,
a lot of people tuned in think it was a Harry Potter podcast. It was Paddy talking about gigging for the Ra.
Brilliant. I would love to be in the room with somebody who's like, I'm such a fan of Harry Potter, and gets you two cunts fucking in their ears going, like the trauma.
Saying the most horrendous shit, because I say lightly offensive or dark shit, and Paddy just says the most. Paddy speaks like he's in a 1970s workman's club. Like, that's just how
Paddy should have my mustache.
Yeah.
That's half my mustache. Just half, like, an action.
Paddy calls me a spastic not to get a rise out of me. It's just what he calls me. There was an episode where we're talking about black people, and he just kept referring to them as the blacks. And I was like, I have to stop the show. Stop saying that. But that's kind of the fun of the show, is like, he will do that. And then it's the contrast of me going, right, here's why you can't do it. And then he's like, well, why the fuck not? And you're like, right, here's why. And that's the fun, like, banter we'll have of it. But it's a very fun show to do every week.
Oh, but you can hear the fun you're having in it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The crack you're having in it, like, comes across for sure. And that's the worry so many times, especially, in the last, I suppose, 2 years, people starting podcasts. You're like, it was like that chap who did the podcast. He went, hey, he was so excited about it and sold it so well to me. I went, fuck, this sounds great. And then it's not. It was, you're going, oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
But
it's went badly, but
you struck gold with your one. You're doing live ones and everything, like.
We had live tours, so we did our first live one in Limelight 1 as like a test where it's so like, this actually how the podcast started. We were doing a joint stand-up show in Limelight 1, which was like 400 seats. So we're like, we'll do a podcast to promote it.
Brilliant.
Just that one show. And then Paddy sort of blew up online, and then the podcast blew up. And then I got more of a profile too. So it's now more just like, out of what was made to promote something, it's just a little side project now that's bigger than that one show we did.
Isn't that bizarre? Like, brilliant. And like that you didn't aim for that, and that's how it fucking ended up.
I think that's kind of why it did work.
Yeah, because you weren't forcing it.
Yeah, there's nothing. We rarely go in with an idea of what we're even going to say. Now, I will draw up an agenda.
Yeah.
And that is only if we run out of things to say. We'll talk about this, but we don't plan it.
Yeah, because like that, I hadn't planned on doing any fucking shows, but I did Newry for Darren a couple of weeks ago, and Shane was there, and he asked Darren, he says, fuck, it's packed in here. He goes, oh yeah, it sold out a month ago. He says, when we put Tom down on the fucking thing, like, I was like, and he says, why the fuck aren't you putting on I said, during this fucking pandemic? He goes, put on a fucking show. And hooked up with Limelight fucking 2 through himself, and Kieran just kind of gave me Joe's number. I was like, yeah, because I had a bunch of fucking new materials, and now I'm doing a show on the 23rd of April. So it's like, I couldn't, I couldn't fucking not do it at that stage, because the lads really coaxed me into it, but it made fucking perfect sense. Would I put one on up the fucking road? Couldn't. With the weird 8 p.m. fucking thing here at the minute, it's weird.
Yeah, what the fuck? You guys are almost too cautious now.
That's right. Listen, they don't know it's like every fucking nation. They don't know their head from their fucking hole. So they're just going, what it is right now, it's the war with the major nightclubs. That's what they won't tell anybody. But the guy who owns the Laughter Lounge, he would be big on the scene in Dublin when it comes to owning fucking selling drink. And he knows the big, like the monster nightclubs, the ones that hold fucking 2,500. You know what I mean? There's a few of them around the city, like, and more even, but they really have the government by their throat, and they keep on warring against them, going, you fuck with us and we'll bring the Vintners Association in here, like, you know what I mean? So they did this whole fucking moving of the chairs thing, and we were like, oh, well, we'll close you down fully. And it goes, you close it down fully again, you cunts, and we'll go after you fucking so hard. So then they did this 12 o'clock thing, and now they pulled it back to 8 o'clock, and the lads are still opening at 4 o'clock, and it's this weird to and fro. Now the rest of the country suffers as a result of it, like, but as does every fucking gig, because there's gigs going on now. Yeah, it's between 6 and 8, but I mean, you know
it's
yourself.
Not the time.
That's not the time. You want to be kicking off at the at the earliest age.
Yeah. That's Northern Ireland. like it's weird up here as kind of the community has went fuck off with like everyone's over lockdown. We're like, we don't give a fuck.
That's
It's
what
not, and I'm not like I get my vaccines, all my boosters and shit, and even I'm like, I don't, leave me alone. Like let's just open. Fuck it.
Yeah, well, they've over politicized it as they do with fucking everything.
Big
Like,
time.
but of course, you see, they are the one, I suppose, negative of, I suppose, being part of Europe is that they're looking to Europe and going, what should we do? Like, and even Europe are kind of going, sure, we don't fucking know either. So there is, like they brought in, I was fucking, how do you sneak these things in? But they brought in the price of a cheap can. Did you see that?
What is this? Because I've seen
minimum pricing. So a lot of fucking things have doubled in price. Like, so a slab of fucking beer, branded beer, especially, like, was say a can fucking of Carlsberg was 24 quid, we'll say, for a slab, or for whatever, you know what I mean, for 12. It's now closer to fucking 40 odd.
Fuck off.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like the amount of politicians that own bars to drive people back into the bars. That's what it is. Like, you know what I mean? There's no two fucking, you know, there was no, like, they didn't come out with anything going, well, domestic abuse has gone up, and so we're wanting people to drink less at home. Like, they was, you know, and there's another way of jamming in tax too, but it's clearly to drive people back into pubs because a lot of fucking politicians own pubs. You know, that's the reality of it. Like,
yeah, that's fucking insane, because that's not a thing over here. Obviously, I've seen a lot of. I would say off over that.
I would say anybody who had an offie within 30 miles of the fucking border is making a fucking killing right now. Is even if you didn't have an offie, just literally pull up with a trailer just over the border and just go, like the lads selling fireworks. Go, I'm going to send you just on a
sell the leftover Christmas drink. Fuck it.
Anything you fucking want. Lads will drink, like, for the sake of it at this stage. Like, if you're charging that for fucking cans, the whole idea of drinking a cans is that it's fucking cheap. Do you know?
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
That is insane.
But that's what a fucking, so, it was another fucking bullshit move, like, where they snuck
what
it
has
in, like,
gigging been like down south? Because at the minute, like, since the pandemic ended, stand-up is almost like the cool thing up here.
It would, I mean, realistically, the last major fucking bout of it was Comedy Festival in Galway, and sold out like that. Like, sold out. Like, just not even a fucking question. Every single fucking gig just went gangbusters. Like, just people couldn't get in fast enough. Like, people were traveling from all around the country to go to it because they were like, you know, but it was fucking bizarre, the rules. So there was one night I was doing 2 shows, but there was 3 different. I was talking with Geddes. We were both doing a hotel show. He did a theatre show, and I did the comedy club as well. And it was 3 different protocols of how the audience were to be. So in the theatre, everybody had to wear a mask. In the hotel, nobody was allowed to fucking basically move bar. You know, you had to piss on yourself, and there was to be table service.
I do that anyway.
Yeah, but you know, it's. And then in the comedy club, it was have at it. You know, it was whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck. Because it's a comedy club and it comes under a different fucking law. But logic didn't kick in across any of these.
That's been the whole thing with COVID forever. There was no blanket thing ever.
No. And the theatre is the one place where people are probably going to be the most well behaved. Do you know what I mean? And everybody's pointing in the one direction. There's going to be nobody fucking breathing in the side of somebody's ear. Like, you know what I mean? And the comedy club, like, sure, people were getting locked. Now, all right, it wasn't fucking carnage, but at the same time, people were fucking close to each other then, you know. But it just didn't. There was 3 different protocols for 3 different types of venues. Yet they were all
still better than like the first summer of the pandemic, where it was like we could have a gig, but a table. It's like 4 tables in a room of 200, and you have to do it the fucking cars. You have to just the worst. Worst shit, and we were all that attention hungry. We were like, "I'll fucking do that."
Oh, I did it one night. It was in Galway again, and it was a beautiful fucking evening down on the coast in Salt Hill, just outside Galway, and it was this 3-sided kind of a fucking armadillo-looking tent. But like, you could see the audience members didn't know what way to sit either. They were like, "I don't know what I'm doing." Literally, they just lifted the band, like they just, you know, and I had no idea what it had been a solid year since doing stand-up. It was like, I'm so fucking rusty in my head right now. I don't know how to string words together. But you could see the audience were clapping wrong and everything. They were like, like clapping their forearms. They didn't know what to fucking do. People were laughing at the wrong times. It was just we were all broken. It was fucking weird. You come away going, I don't know if I like this. This is fucking weird, you know.
It was that moment too. You were back on stage. People were like, "You're not busting it back on stage." You're like, "I don't remember how to do stand up."
Yeah,
because I would do this 5 times a week, and I haven't done it in a year.
Well, I mean, as I described to anybody who was trying to fucking work it out, was, well, you remember the summer holidays in school, and you come back and you could not fucking write anything.
Yeah. That is the most perfect way I've heard that articulated. That is so spot on.
My brain won't put these words together like it used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we'd literally be all saying the same thing over and over to each other, the same thing. So nobody's had a different train of thought for a fucking year. So don't expect much.
What I love too is people being like, "Have you many jokes about COVID?" And you're like, "No,
not fucking one."
Because I'm fucking tired. I've no COVID. I've no Trump. I've no I've none of that because I'm fucking tired. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah. Well, that's always the fear with me, is that plowing ground. That's why I start coming out with weird shit, like talking about fucking aftershaves and stuff. Like, the fear of running over ground that other lads have plowed. You're like, no.
Yeah.
You know, there was like, I was that night in Uri, a couple of lads came up afterwards, and one was like, "Oh, I like how you did nothing about Northern Ireland." I went, "But sure, why would? What the? I'm fucking Tipperary. What business would I have saying anything about Northern Ireland?" I was like, "Why the fuck would I say it?" He goes, "Yeah, you didn't mention local shopping centres or anything." I went, "'Cause I fucking don't know them." Trust me, this was not me trying to be overly smart. Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed the fact that I didn't, but it wasn't on purpose. It was
that would be me going down south. I'm not talking about local hurling stuff. No fucking clue.
Stop making hurling references. Right.
Yeah, well, what's the tail shock up to? I don't even know if I'm saying that right.
You're not, and I love it. You said it like a fucking American who just got off a plane.
Yeah. What's the tail shock? What's the deal with Michael D. Higgins? Is he still going? I don't know. Is he dead? I don't know.
Oh, he's still fucking casting spells. He's over there just being lovely. You can't.
I've never understood what is his job, right? Because I know there's the main the tail shock.
Yeah,
however you fucking say it.
I don't read.
What's his job?
They do have to pass. Now that this would be a very interesting one. It would be an interesting take for you because it's not like it in any other part of the world. They do have to run laws and bills through him, stuff like that. So I know, like, nobody has a bad word to say about him, especially artists, because back when he was Minister of Arts years ago, he gave complete tax 100% tax breaks to artists. That's why. But then Bono and the likes of him fucked it for everybody.
Yeah.
He fucked it. You know what I mean? Oh, I just grossed him fucking 500 billion this year. Guess I'll just stay here in Ireland. You're like,
I hate it. I hate.
You know, like they
so much.
Like the likes of him fucked it on everybody. Like when there was, lads who were literally trying to fucking put it, actually be artists. And, now it's technically in place, but it's a break up till about 30,000 or something. But to qualify for it, you would have to prove, even if you wrote your fucking memoirs as a book, they go, but there's words in there that were used by other people, so it's not technically yours. So I'm just saying you don't qualify. But D. Higgins is loved because of that, because he was back in the day smoking weed and stuff in Slane Castle, going, man, artists should be fucking living here for free. This is the one thing that's cool about us, is that we do good music and good whatever. But they weren't long at steamrolling that. Like, they were, you fucking joking me. Like, but like I said,
unless you're Apple, you don't get tax breaks.
No, exactly. And all the other one, Pfizer's, all the rest of them get the tax breaks.
Of all the politics, I thought that was the one thing that always blew my mind, is how much of like a tax haven down south was for like massive core. I was like, that's fucking mental.
It's the only thing that there's you're up the middle of it. It's a double-edged sword. Like, you turn around and go, we want your fucking, yes, we want your employment, but we're going to tax you fully. We'll stay where we are in fucking Chechnya. Thank you very much. Because they work for fucking nothing. So you're fine. No, fuck the tax. Just come here and, employ loads of people and trucks and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it worked both ways.
Yeah. Like, it was very, like, people made out like it was a black and white rule when they were like, there was people going, would you just fucking get the fucking whatever, however many billion they owed? And you're like, yeah, but lads, if you even thought about it for a split second,
they're gone.
If they up sticks, that's fucking 6,000 in Cork alone.
Yeah, they're not here for the fucking weather, fellas.
No. Look what happened to fucking Limerick when Dell left and 5,000 people. The place just fucking folded in on itself for fucking 10 years. You know what I mean? Like it's, but lads, just, you know, again, it must drive you insane when you hear people shouting about politics and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. You haven't a fucking clue. You haven't a clue.
I equated it over the pandemic when people were like, we should do this. I'm like, it's like watching a game of football and someone's like, why don't they just pick it up and throw it in the net? And you're like, that's not. But
it ends up in the net, right? No, that's.
I kind of tuned out of politics because of that. I almost knew too much, and I'm like, I can't take explaining base level shit to people anymore. Now I'm just like, yeah, fair enough. I don't listen. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and it's and you get the understanding too of where the general public's mind is at, especially because I was on Instagram for so long, and I think I signed up to TikTok. And you were one of and I hadn't gone on it. Like, I was like, I don't know what, like, because of course, if you don't post through their medium, you won't get the views. You know, if you're just throwing up videos from other things. And I'd done that, and then I left it for months and months. And I went back, and I remember seeing you had a background behind you. You were being funny, and I went, oh, great. Okay, so there's some legitimacy to this. There's somebody I know on it.
Yes.
But what fucking, it's great and kills me at the same time is that, like, this fucking thing I threw up one of the days. It was like a 15-second video about Polish people not having a word for toes. Now it's as throwaway as I just literally said it like that. They call them foot fingers, which they do, which turns out.
I've seen this. This came up on my feed.
Like literally, William, 250,000 views later. Yeah. And I'm going, I couldn't get 250,000 fucking views on the most precise fucking on the money stand-up that I've been writing for the last fucking 40 years. I couldn't get 1/10 of that. And this absolutely base level shit. I wasn't even trying to be overly funny. It was a Friday night. I had a beer. I was here in the fucking office and went, oh yeah, that was funny. I heard that the other day. I'll say that on TikTok. And Turn said that, put down the phone. Phone nearly melted an hour later. I'm going, this is annoying the fuck out of me because this is not what it, but at the same time.
And you know why that did so well? Because it's 15 seconds. Yeah. And that's the attention. Because I'll put up stand-up clips on TikTok, and I do fairly well in views in terms of it. They're all very quick. I cut them down. I edit them. I don't really have pauses in it because people are fucking not paying attention. I was bad. I'm not laughing within 10 seconds. Gone.
Isn't that fucking brutal? Like when you think of it that way, but when
it is.
I started doing this thing, and this is another eye opener as to the kind of people that are out there. And when you try to fucking reason with the fucking numpties. I remember I started doing these Irish history facts. They're facts, but they spell facts because they're completely made up, not real facts. Like, Jeff Bezos is originally from Ireland. His family name was Jesus until he moved, and it was just fucking. But the amount of people I get writing under it going, what you'll actually find is, you're like, oh my fucking God.
Oh my they are the absolute dog shit of the internet.
Get into the sea, you cunt. Get into the fucking sea, because you've no business.
I put up a clip when I was supporting Paddy at the Fela, which is traditionally it's a Catholic festival in West Belfast.
Oh yes, I saw this. This is brilliant.
It's not a Catholic festival, but it was made to replace bonfires in nationalist areas, so it's very much all about Irish history and stuff. Me being a Protestant, I'm not like I'm outspokenly proud. Like, I'm not for like all proud issues, but I openly go, from East Belfast.
But at the same time, you're not going to service fucking 7 times a week either. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no. So it was a big deal for a prod to do it. And what Paddy did was because I'd done this to him at a show. When he brought me out to the wolf tones, and it's the ooh up the ra. So the crowd are all singing ooh up the ra at me. As if that gig wasn't scary enough. It's all Sinn Féin MLAs in the front.
But it breaks the fucking ice too brilliantly.
It does, and it went well for me because I just went, you still spend the Queen money, you Fenian bastards. Which obviously I don't mean that.
Yeah, no, but it has to. No, but you can't let him have that moment either. Like, no, what
if I let that slide, I lose the gig.
That's proper banter, like back and forth. You know what I mean? That's the qualification of banter, where you go, well, fucking fuck you, cunts, and fuck you, Paddy. But
which
good
is
move.
my favorite thing. That's how you acknowledge a difference. You don't get annoyed about it. You go, I fucked up, you Catholic guy, dead on you, dirty hum. That's funny.
But
that clip got 500,000 views or something.
Did it?
The comments under it were fucking, whoa, Wolfton was a Protestant. Well, if you, it was just all about like just troubles based comment, and I'm like, lads, you're missing the point here.
Yeah. That's.
Or when I did the BBC one, I had a joke, and someone was like, loads of comments were like, I got this annoyed me. They were like, hate Scottish comedians all talking the same.
I get English for some reason. You might, like the toes one was like you English always. I'm like,
Someone went to me, it's like, you're stealing Kevin Bridges' material on his flow, and I'm like, he's from Scotland, and I'm talking about riding my sister. That he doesn't do either of those things.
Nope. And Kevin Bridges, if you look back through Scottish comedians, he didn't lick it off the fucking ground either. Trust me, he's not that fucking original.
That's no, it blows my mind when people will be like, "Oh, you're a bit like him," and you're like, "Well, every artist ever is a bit like something."
Yeah. I have a head and 2 legs, and I'm holding the microphone. So
yeah. But like any artist ever has to like see art they like. Every artist ever is making shit versions of the art they like. That's really all we're ever doing. When people point that out, you're like, I'm fully aware.
Yeah, and then you look at their page and you're like, oh, you've never created a single thing in your life bar decent shit.
It's them fucking lip singing the ABBA. And I'm like, your fucking mouth.
That's what turned me off TikTok initially. The first time I opened it, was like, what are all these people lip syncing? Hold on. Yeah. And then I go through and you're lip syncing somebody doing stand up while you're in your sit. Go get the fuck out. No, this is no.
Yeah. But it was almost void of any original creation.
Yeah. And it was promoting that. It was like, no. But
at the same time, out of any media I would get recognized from, TikTok's probably the most.
Yeah.
And I have a decent Instagram base, a decent YouTube following shit. TikTok is probably what I'll get stopped on the street for is TikTok.
Kids, too. There can only be like 15 skateboarders in Dublin 2 weeks ago. Stopped me. Pointed me out. That guy's a TikToker over there. I'm like, oh, I'm not that. I'm definitely not. I'm certainly not that.
Yeah. I have someone like, your boy does TikToks, aren't you? I'm like, I have done this for near 10 years.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
TikToker, cunt.
I'm the guy with the toes. Yeah, I'm the toes guy. Yeah. Thank you very much for all the fucking effort I put into things. Yeah.
I find it's terrifying when teenagers stop me now, because like I try to be nice to them. Not to be like seem lovely, but because they scare me. All teenagers now are 7'4".
They're ginormous.
And comes in packs of 40. Like they're fucking terrifying.
They're fucking massive. I don't know what the fuck. Even like huge. There's no rhyme or reason. Like our child already, like you measure them at the age of 2 to see what you can kind of gauge what they'll be when they're finished height. And he was just over 3 foot. So you're going over 6 foot. Like that doesn't make any what? But it's just healthy food and not eating those volcanic frozen pizzas. Do you know what I mean? As a child, child food. They're eating things like raisins. He actually likes raisins. If raisins came in anything I got as a child, they were getting fucked straight out.
You ever seen food adverts for kids' food now? They're shit.
Yeah.
There's no electric guitar in them.
There's nothing. There's no MSG. There's fuck all. Like they actually advocate the fact that there's no crack in it. There's no sugar. There's no nothing. And that's what you should be wanting, kids.
Yeah.
But they're all becoming giants. They're fucking giants.
Yeah. Whereas when I was younger, it was like peak 90s. The louder the advert and the food, it's like, here's just some fucking sugar dipped in chocolate.
Yeah.
Eat it,
Yeah. Like, I can only put it down to that. Apparently, before the big fucking flood of 11,000 years ago, there was 9 foot tall people. People had gotten really big.
Paddy McDonald has said this to me, and I've argued with him because he has argued people in Kerry were 8 foot tall before the famine. He's technically fucking right, but it's fucking way before the famine. Paddy, way fucking before the famine. Because he argues this every week. It comes up because I make fun of him for it.
It was 11,500 fucking years ago. It was during a giant flood after a fucking meteor shower that basically fucked everything. There was giant monkeys. There was giant everything. There was giant fucking all sorts, but Everything was fucking massive. Giant frogs, giant fucking everything. And then this came and fucked everybody up. And through the lack of fucking grub, basically, because fucking half the planet was flooded for a couple of thousand years. We all just shrunk back down into shriveled, because you see the old places if you ever, holidays in Turkey or whatever, and people were 4 foot back in the day. Same in little old pubs that you'll find. Sometimes you go, Jesus Christ, like Willy Wonka moment where you walk, I have to dip under a fucking doorway.
I'm going into places, I'm like, this is perfect. This is how tall people feel. This is perfect.
I can change the light bulb. Yeah. But they were fucking. But I've noticed people in northern parts of the world, like, and even some lads, like the world of lads in Belfast are massive, huge lads, like. But they say that people, as you head towards colder areas, people get massive. Like you get up to fucking the Vikings and all, and it's not because of the Vikings were just happened to be. They were massive. Yeah, possibly maybe they dodged the fucking big great flood and they had monsters up there. I don't know, but you see in Newcastle. I remember talking about who educated me on this was Rick Mail during on a TV show.
I didn't know. Did you met or did you know Rick Mail?
I was on. Well, I did, but we were on a TV show together. We were together for a week, and I picked his brain. I wrecked his fucking head, but we had good crack because we both smoked fags at the time. Like we were the only smokers on the set. Like, but I picked his fucking brain. But he had a vast knowledge on anthropology, huge. Like but what he said, like when you start going up northern England, you go into harder climates where people had to be fucking eat mass volumes of fucking protein back in the day, as well as that probably did heavier lifting of shit. He said, you get it up towards Newcastle, fucking up the north, you're getting massive cunts. He said, fellas, it's not weird to see whole gangs of friends all over 6'3", big strong fuckers. Like
that's a lot of my friends. Also.
And that's what I noticed, mates. When you go up the fucking go up the north, there's a load of lads that are massive. Huge big fuckers.
Like I'm like 5'5", but my mates are all over 6 foot, so I look fucking tiny. Tiny. Put me beside Gaddis.
Like, sure.
And it's a different species.
That's it. That's exactly it. Like even the size of his head, like Gaddis's head, Aaron's head, it looks like a television on top of a fucking wall.
Photos like me between McCann and Gaddis, and I do just look like a Make-A-Wish kid who's just like.
You know your man Hezbollah.
Yeah. That's what I look like.
The East Fast Hezbollah.
See, when that kid first got big, everyone thought it was Paddy McDonald's son.
He's the fucking bulb off him. He's the head of him, the same fucking bowed little face on him.
I remember watching like a video where Hezbollah's on his phone and he's tapping the buttons like that, and I looked up and Paddy was sitting down doing that exact same thing. And I was like, that's fucking terrible. You look so much like him. It's adorable.
It's fucking adorable, little fella. You want to bounce, man?
He uses his phone the same way. He'll hit the buttons like that.
Here, I've taken up enough of your time. What next big fucking obviously Mudblood podcasts for anybody who isn't involved, but I'd say the Venn diagram between me and a lot of the lads, I'd say
we pretty crossed over.
We cross swords a lot of the time. But you did Ulster Hall with the boys.
Yes, 15th of October. It was myself, Mark McCartney, James McKegney, Robbie McShane, Jordan Robinson.
I've almost done the 5. Is that 5E? 5 horsemen. Well, I've 3 of the 5 horsemen have been podcast guests, so that's great. I'll get the 2 boys on at some stage. And sure, and I'll be, hopefully, if you're around on that Saturday night, we'll fucking hang out on.
100%, I'll get down to your Limelight show, absolutely.
Yeah, the 23rd, we'll hang out and have the fucking crack. Bring the drum, will you?
Yes. I'll bring the triangle.
Just bring me the fancy stick that would develop the front, the fancy stick.
The big bamboo?
Yeah. I want to give that a no, I won't. I'll cut the head off myself.
All it is just 2 tennis balls on a wooden stick.
Is that it?
And then they wrap it up.
That's totally taking the allure away from it. I thought it was waste nasty. I thought it had been passed down from generations and like it was
a big syrup. No, it's just the tennis ball on a stick.
Fuck it. Although it would be interesting to see, like the road bowling thing, to see if we could start an orange order down here. But you don't actually have to have any religious connotations whatsoever. Just a bunch of lads who want to hang out and play some musical instruments down the road.
Play some terrible music.
While people do drugs on the street beside you.
Yeah.
William, this has been class. Thanks a million, brother.
Thank you very much, mate. Good to see you, Mo.
Thank you very much, William. So, get onto his podcast, the Mudblood Podcast, and as well in October the boys are going to be in Ulster Hall. That will be one to go. He's going to be over at my show as well, hanging out, having a fucking crack on April 23rd. Like I said, tickets are on sale most likely now as you're listening to this, since 10 o'clock the morning of the 14th. So, depending. Have a look in the show notes. Like I said, if you wouldn't mind tagging it when you do get a ticket, tagging the show as you're listening to it, gets more people talking about it. If you are listening on Apple or Spotify, give it the 5 stars. You know the crack, it's the sound thing to do. We will be doing a live show for the Patreons at the end of the month, having a few drinky winkies, to see how people got on with dry January. Whether you did or you didn't, they'll be alright. They're great crack. They're loosey goosey, we don't record them, so people can let their hair down a bit. So that's all I have to say about that. Tom and Jerry's show will be starting recording. We have another bit of news coming on the live front, but I'll say nothing until things are locked in place. And go away and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And I'll talk to you again next week. Good luck, God bless and thanks.